It's been 5 years since the, well, just disastrous launch of Cyberpunk. What? Huh? And yeah, by now, it's no secret that the game launched in a pretty bad way. But here's the crazy part. Despite all that, somehow, there are some people out there now that would argue that this game is, well, dare I say, perfect. Yeah, this game. But it's important to actually understand, how the hell did we even get here? Is any of that actually true? Or is it just another bunch of big fancy words that essay YouTubers and game reviewers love to chuck around? Well, let's find out. Okay, so to first understand how people call this game a masterpiece, we gotta first kind of understand how we actually got to that point. And that may or may not start with the launch of the game. Yeah. How to describe the launch of Cyberpunk? Okay, yeah, right. You've probably no doubt heard and seen literally everything on just how bad this game's launch was. I mean, slap me around and call me a good boy, because what the fuck is this shit? Cyberpunk released in December of 2020. I know, where the fuck has time gone? I mean, 2020. I thought Cyberpunk released a couple years ago, but no, it's released half a decade ago. Where the hell has time gone? In what many would argue is without a doubt one of the worst states a AAA game has ever released in. Not telling you, you are your own damn video. You stay the fuck down there. But like I said, I'm sure most of you already know about the whole story of the game's launch. But in case you haven't, let me catch you up. Game release, game bad. Like, boy, oh boy, why so bad? Reason because shareholders and greedy people want money. So, they release game in terrible state early. Got that? Okay, that's dumb as fuck, but hey, you get the point. Okay, yeah, so the game just gets released way earlier than it should have because of greedy and awful shareholders wanting to capitalize on the game's hype. Because my god, did this game have a lot of hype going into its release, and we'll get into that later, don't worry. The game releases and it just releases to awful reception. But again, are you really surprised when you're looking at this shit right here? Like, what the fuck is this?
Okay. Do I get on the bike? Oh.
I hate these Borg fuckers.
The game is just terribly optimized. Like, it ran awful on every system. It didn't even matter at the time if you had a beast of a rig, like, it still ran terribly. But my god, do I feel bad for you if you tried to run this game on an old PS4 or old Xbox console? Because it ran so poorly on these older gen consoles that not only did Sony pull that shit out, but CD Projekt themselves were even offering refunds. Honestly, as I look back, it's actually insane what was going on. And like, people were losing their shit, but again, like, can you blame them? Well, I'm 22 now. Promise I look younger. When I shave the beard, I look like a child, I promise. But yeah, I'm 22, right? And when CD Projekt Red were dropping these trailers, dropping these gameplay teasers, me and my entire class were collectively losing our minds. Like, me and people who had never even spoken to each other in class were talking about how insane this game's gonna be. And a big reason for that was because without a doubt, CD Projekt Red were promising that this game was going to be the game of games. Like, they were just edging us. Like, they were absolutely just teasing the fact there's going to be genre-defined, industry-changing. Like, I mean, for fuck's sake, they brought out Keanu Reeves. You're breathtaking. Like, what the fuck is that guy doing here? Like, I love this guy. Oh my god, this game really is going to be genre-changing, industry-changing. Oh my god. And, yeah. I guess it was kind of industry changing, goddammit. However, whilst everyone was just constantly dogging the game and talking about how bad it is, and talking about how gaming's dead, and how CD Projekt Red have ruined the industry, and how I want to be called a good boy, whilst most studios would have just left this disastrous scene, having scammed the players out of millions, wasn't talking about you. You either. No, not you. Yes, you. CD Projekt Red isn't like most studios. Cyberpunk's Redemption is without a doubt one of, if not the best in gaming. And the only game people can really think of which did it better or just as well is, well, No Man's Sky. But seriously, I know this video is talking about why Cyberpunk is so great and why people deem it their perfect or a masterpiece, and so far we've only talked about the launch and the redemption, but objectively, I can't talk about the positives without talking about these things. It'd be like talking about Ronaldo's career without United, LeBron's without Cleveland, or a bad bitch calling me good boy. You see, you have to acknowledge the importance and greatness of these things when you look at the big picture. My God, is this redemption something of greatness? From 2020 to 2025, week after week, month after month, year after year, CD Projekt Red worked their fucking arse off to turn this absolute mess of a game into the game they knew it could be and would be. Game crashing? Fixed. Weird-ass game-breaking bugs? Fixed. Guns not working? Fixed. Story missions not working? Fixed. My love for Pan Am? Still there. And it's over 20 major/minor updates. But the thing is, right, and the thing is, those minor updates also had minor updates in them, and those major updates also had major/minor updates in them, so the number is well over 20. I couldn't really find the exact number because every website I looked at had different stats, different numbers, different update patches. The point I'm getting at is, right, the amount of updates in this game and the amount of work they put into is insane. Like, I'm not even joking when I say there was even minor patches in the minor patches, and when I looked at those minor patches, there were even minor patches, and when I looked at those minor patches, there were minor patches. My God, I'm going insane! The point, and what I'm trying to say is that CD Projekt Red have been working on this game non-stop. Genuinely, it is incredible the amount of effort they have put in this game to turn that ship around and turn it into something people are proud of. Now, would it have been better if the game just launched in the state that it is in now? Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course it would be. But hey, don't be that guy. You looking at home writing that comment, don't be that fucking guy. The game has just gone from an awful review state on Steam to just now an overwhelmingly positive state, which, I mean, it's just an incredible thing to say. And like, it's not just people jerking their shit to the characters and being like, oh, this game is so good. Like, I'm sure there is a lot of that in the fan base. I'm not one of those guys. I'm just saying. I'm sure that's a lot. There's a lot of people like that in the fan base. Can we cut? But what I'm getting at here is that in under 5 years, because the game's been in a great state for a while now, CD Projekt Red have managed to completely transform and save what many would have said is an unsavable game into something incredible. And look, there may be a bug here or there, but you know, nothing insane or something you wouldn't expect from a game to begin with. Which to say about this game now, when the game looked like this, it's just amazing. However, you may be thinking now, so since the game is sitting on an overwhelmingly positive on Steam with like over 200k views or something, which is just wild, and every YouTuber and their mother just loving the game and with outlets waxing the poetic greatness that is Cyberpunk, what makes the game so good, and you know, is it even truly worthy of the hype? And more importantly, is it actually worthy of the title masterpiece, which so many call it? Right, I'm just gonna whip it out and put it on the desk. Cyberpunk does deserve the brilliant review scores, the brilliant critical acclaim, the hype, the positive reviews and receptions and words the game receives now, like brilliant and masterpiece and my God, game changing. And I'm even going to go as far as saying it's one of the best experiences you can have in modern day gaming. Yeah! Like seriously, the world of this game, the story, the characters, the music, the atmosphere, everything in this game, man, is outstanding. I want to kiss this game, it's so good. The story in this game is truly fantastic, and I won't spoil it for you just in case you haven't played it, because I really think if you haven't played the game, Cyberpunk tells such a gut-wrenching and emotionally investing story that if you haven't played it by now, you need to, and you need to experience that story. Which, as you guys know, creating stories that is actually interesting isn't so easy. And a big reason for why this game's story is so great, not only because of the great writing, but also just because of how amazingly fleshed out all the characters in this game are. From Johnny, Pan Am, Judy, our favorite boy Jackie, to really just every damn character you meet in this game as your journey unravels. The writing, the voice acting, the storylines each character has in this game, it's all just truly bewildering. And yes, whilst in a sense the interactions you have in the game, the storylines or the quests aren't anything genre defying or industry changing, the characters themselves, man, are just so enjoyable and interesting to interact with. You truly understand why like every side character in this game just has like a bajillion fan accounts, because they really are just really fantastic and great. Like I really can't stress to you how enjoyable interacting with these side characters in this game is. And I would even argue that the interactions you have with the characters in this game are just flat out some of the best interactions you can have with characters in gaming. And again, that's just flat out because of how good the writing is in this game. I mean, man, the entire like side plot or side storyline with Judy and her best friend. Oh my god. I can't go into detail because it's a very deep story and it touches on very personal and very sensitive matters. But to put it in a sense for you guys, let me read my script. You not only feel invested in this storyline, but my god, do you feel every emotion and story beat with this quest line, as this was just a side quest. Fuck man, this game is good. And that's why you've come to this channel. And not to sound like a douche here, but I'm gonna. I think the reason for why the characters, dare I say, feel not only real, but you also feel the emotion from the characters and you begin to care for them, is because of where the game takes place, Night City. You could argue that Night City is a character itself, being a metaphorical symbolic mirror of not only the NPCs and players' actions, but you see the place of Night City has become a profound reflection of how the populace of this game's world has become. Okay, but jokes aside, holy shit. I mean, I will happily stand on business when I say this and fight you, yes you, that when I say I think Night City is one of the most impressively built worlds in gaming, I mean it. And that kind of stems from what I said earlier. You see, the city makes the quests, the characters, and overall storyline so much more impactful. And that's because the world in this game has so much environmental storytelling and really just immerses you and tells you so much about what's going on. You feel the struggle of the poorer areas. You feel the luxury of the nice corpo areas. And you feel the dusty just getting by wildlands of, well, the wildlands. With each character that you talk and interact with, whether it being a gang member, a corpo member, whatever the freaky fuck this is, you see the world that each character has to live and get by in. And that really makes the emotion and impact of everything that's happening in this game all the more greater. Because you're now not only immersed, but you're actually seeing what's going on day to day. And you know, whilst I'm getting excited, that does also kind of bring me to another point. See, I feel like the word immersive nowadays, especially in gaming, is kind of getting chucked around like a buzzword. It's kind of chucked around half-heartedly, like people are just saying, this game's immersive. It's like, really? Is this immersive? But genuinely, there really is no better way of describing Night City. The world and amount of detail in this game's world is just stunning. From the ads, which, you know, God knows how long it took them to make, because boy, is there a lot of them. From the environmental storytelling to the random things you come across in Night City whilst you're walking, driving, or whatever the hell this is. There are quite few games that can immerse you in its, well, technical virtual playground like Night City does. And that's definitely because of the plethora of lore that this world has to back it. You see, the world of this game is just incredibly interesting. So interesting, in fact, I have this book, which I've read. Yes, I do know how to read. But the reason I'm saying this is because the world of this game is just interesting. Whether you're learning about the world of augmentation, cybernetics, the corporations, or how the world got to be the way it is, everything really is just interesting, and you can really tell they put a lot of time and care into the world's lore. In fact, you'll find yourself taking time to actually read when the game does inevitably chuck a plethora of lore at you, because it's interesting. And hey, you might even be doing your own research on the world or on the game. And whilst I've heard some people argue that Night City itself isn't really that immersive because you can't interact with everyone, you can't go into every store, or it's not as immersive as, say, Yakuza or Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I know that's a recently released game, I'm just making my point, you get me, you get what I mean. There is so much more to immersion than, hey, I can go in this store and open that and go in this door. Like, yes, whilst that's a totally valid point, Cyberpunk immerses you in a totally different way. Cyberpunk immerses you in a truly amazing fashion due to the overall atmosphere and sound you hear in the world. Whether you're walking or driving in the game, you get to see this just incredibly handcrafted world, and that's exactly how it immerses you. It's not immersive like Red Dead, where NPCs have their own schedules, work, places to be, YouTubers to subscribe to. I'm sorry. It immerses you in truly one of the most important ways. The feels, man. Like, okay, so when I'm driving around in this game, right? I feel like Panam or Judy or this roided up lifter is really doing their own thing, whether I'm there or not, which is the most important thing. The world feels so real. And I think that's because CD Projekt Red made damn sure that basically every part of this world or every part of this game's inhabitants has something going on in it. And that feeling aspect, whether it is true that these NPCs just have the same 3 things to do on and on and on and on and on and on, is what's so important. Because it feels like, whether I'm playing this game or not, they have their own stuff and own things to do in the day. Also, like, what's the point of lifting weights in the world of Cyberpunk? Like, can anyone explain that to me? And I know you could be like, oh, you must do stuff. I just wanted to ask a question. You know, learning is power, learning is key. Let's have a conversation. Could someone please tell me, like, what is the point of lifting weights in the world of Cyberpunk? And I'm about to repeat something I've heard a lot of YouTubers and a lot of critics and a lot of people say, which I just mean I couldn't agree with this anymore. And that's that even though there is a fast travel system in this game, you hardly find yourself using it because, man, is this game just fun and nice and exciting and enjoyable to be in and live in. Like, yeah, sure, I could fast travel, but fuck that. I'm gonna enjoy the world that has been built for me, and god damn it, I'm gonna. And I haven't even talked about gameplay yet, and man, is this game fun to play. The builds in this game are staggering. I mean, I always use a one-handed gunslinger, but there's a lot of variety. Want to be a cyborg samurai? Done. Want to be a cowboy? Done. Want to be a toy pleasuring wielder? Done. There are channels dedicated just purely talking about the skill tree, best weapons, the best augmentations, the best builds to go for, what color your piss should be. Because there is so much variety in this game, and god is it amazing. Guns feel weighty, melee feels vicious, hacking makes you feel like a genius, and this makes you feel like a main character in an anime, whatever this is. And, well, speaking of anime protagonists... What is this segue? Okay, this doesn't make sense, but here we go. Okay, but fuck it. Speaking of anime protagonists, the quests. But okay, yeah, I'll keep this brief because, man, do I love to speak. But yeah, it's a CD Projekt Red game, so you already know the quests in this game are just incredible. Like, to this day, I still think about the Dream On quest. And basically, if you haven't played this quest, spoilers right here, I'm gonna give you a warning because, man, should you play this quest. Play this quest! I'll keep it brief, but you're basically hired to investigate a break-in or something on this big political figure. And at first, it seems rather normal. But rather quickly, it turns out that this man's entire life has been a Truman-style show type of life. And that's because, like, he's been getting brainwashed for God knows how long, and you uncover all this crazy stuff. And the guy's getting more and more paranoid, and, like, truth be told, you as the player, you start to get more and more paranoid as well, because you're like, what the hell is even going on here? Like, somehow he has a secret room in his house that people watch him from the entire time, which he had no idea about, and somehow my first on-screen crush ever is also found in this room. What the fuck? And the quest is just incredible because it keeps building and building and building until the very end, where after all the investigating and after digging up everything, you finally meet with the man himself, and you have a choice to make. You can either tell him the truth, which the truth is, by the way, that he's not only been brainwashed for God knows how long, he's been watched for every second of his life for God knows how long. Or you can just straight up lie and tell him you found nothing. Which, by the way, his wife tells you to do, which is insane. I'm telling you, man, this game is heat. And let me tell you right now, this quest has no significance to the main story, no impact on the ending. There's a cool cutscene depending on what decision you make at the end of the game, but that's it. But I cannot make this video without talking about this quest. Because my god, this quest right here, this exact thing, this thing right here, is everything Cyberpunk does perfectly. Like, after finding out all this insane stuff, like how his life has just been a lie, how his wife, it might not even, like, you don't even, like, you yourself, you in the game, you don't even really know if the wife really truly loves him or if she's in on it as well. You have the power to completely flip this man's life on his head, upside down, whatever the saying is, or you can just let him live a lie. And I won't spoil, what happens when you pick either decision. But man, this quest right here is everything Cyberpunk does right. Because the magnitude of whether you tell him or don't tell him, you feel it. Because not only is the writing incredible, but the characters themselves are just so interesting.
Like I've been saying, every character in the game is so
Well damn written! Like, this is just a side quest in this game with a side character that makes no impact on the game's ending. And even years later, I'm still thinking about this. Because, I mean, like, how could you not after everything I've just said? Also, really quick, just a quick side note, I want to say the voice acting and characters in this game and talent, they're just incredible, all of them. Like, the performances here from Judy, Panam, male V, female V, and, like, every other character on the screen right now, there's just too many to list. They're all just incredible. Because here's the thing, the actors in this game really do make the writing even better. You can have a greatly written character, a greatly written story, but if the acting isn't there, it just doesn't do anything. And likewise, vice versa, you know,
whatever you want to say.
Basically, what I'm saying is, great writing, great characters, they both make a beautiful, beautiful child just for this beautiful, beautiful game, and my god, does it mix well. But also, look, I'm not dumb.
Give or take, you might have a different assumption after this video.
I'm not dumb or biased, like I know I've just spent an insane amount of time gushing over this game, but I know there is fair criticism of this game. Like how some characters could have been more fleshed out, how, you know, corpo lifestyles literally make no difference apart from a couple dialogue options, like how some choices in the game really don't matter in the sense of they all kind of lead to the same area,
Or how Panam isn't real.
Whilst I definitely hear and actually agree with a lot of those criticisms because they are fair, I think without a doubt that Cyberpunk's positives definitely just outweigh the negatives here when looking at the bigger picture, because man, Cyberpunk's positives really just do outweigh those. I started this video off by asking if Cyberpunk was perfect, or if it deserved the title of masterpiece. And I think after everything I've spoken about in this video, I don't think it'd be fair to label this game as anything but. This game is undeniably special. Hey, look, I totally understand if this game isn't for you. And I really don't think this game as a whole does many things to push the barrier for game design or change the industry at all. But I think whilst Cyberpunk doesn't really do many things, the things it does do, it does them exceptionally well. To having some of the best side characters I've ever experienced interacting with in gaming, to having a world so beautiful, so dark, yet so enjoyable to experience and live in, and to just having some of the most emotionally investing quests I've personally experienced in a game. Cyberpunk is a game that if it came out how it did back in 2020, how it is now in 2025, many would label it as one of the best action RPGs ever. Heavy focus on the action. However, I think Cyberpunk tells a beautiful story that not only us as gamers, but as individuals can actually take something from. How it started off as terrible, broken, and just unplayable. CD Projekt Red knew what they had was special. Even when no one believed in them, they kept going. Because they not only believed in the game, but they also believed in themselves. And I mean, I think we as people can learn something from that. That even though sometimes something may seem unachievable or something may seem out of reach, that you gotta keep going because you can achieve it, you can. And I think that's beautiful. And now we've gone from a game that was a complete laughingstock to a once in a lifetime game experience that even the biggest of casuals must experience. Which, hey, I mean, that really does say something. The world of Cyberpunk is now apparently only getting bigger, with CD Projekt Red apparently announcing that they're working on or already started developing or designing concepts for, or whatever, just something to do with a sequel of Cyberpunk. And apparently we're getting a TV show or a movie or something, cinematic, something with film for the Cyberpunk world, which, I mean, God, that would be cool. And yeah, and let's also not forget about the anime, which every time I hear this, by the way, I forget what I'm... Also, yeah, I maybe should have mentioned how the anime did a big part of reviving the game, but my god, this video's gone on for too long, and look, that's pretty much it. What else do I say? The anime did a big part of spiking the player count up and
Really getting those numbers up.
basically, what I'm saying is that it's clear that we are not done with the Cyberpunk universe. But what's even more clear is that Cyberpunk actually represents and stands for something rather important on how games and studios can redeem themselves, and how the dangers of hype and over-rushed development are real dangers for a reason. Do I think Cyberpunk is perfect? I mean, no way in hell is it perfect. Nothing is perfect, that's unobtainable. But what I will say is that I think that even if this game slightly interests you, it will be a game you do not regret playing. And it will be a game that when you do finish it, it will always be on the back of your mind. You'll always have a thought of it at least once a month, every 3 months, 4, 5, 6, whatever. You will always, at least at some point, think about this game in the back of your mind. And that's because that the impact that this game has on you and the journey it takes you on as a player is truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience and one of the best that this medium has to offer. And if you have any hesitation about playing this game even years later, please play it. Because Cyberpunk is one of those games that when you're done with it, you'll realize that there is truly no game out there like Cyberpunk.